Welcome back to the Slice Tennis Podcast presented by Betway. And of course, it is November, the second to last month of the year. So we have to come in hot. We have to finish the year strong. We might even start our New Year's resolutions right now instead of waiting, because why wait?
Whoa.
The best
I wasn't
time,
prepared.
Steven, when's the best time to plant a tree?
I don't know, JP. When is it?
Yesterday. When's the next best time?
Today?
Come on. We got to be planting these trees. So this right here, this episode, our first episode in November, is our first seed in our New Year's resolutions. We're going to make every episode from here on out our best episode. And I'm ready for that challenge. Now, on this episode, we're going to run down the results from the week. There's actually kind of a lot going on. Then we're going to get into the WTA Finals. There's been a lot of buzz on Twitter about how it was hilarious, actually, because somebody, I think it was one of the players, tweeted out, man, the support was awesome today. And then there was a video that went out and there was nobody in the stadium. So we're going to talk about that
Brutal.
and the struggles they have had. Next, we're going to get into all of the different coaching changes or techniques that have been happening. Obviously, all of the governing bodies have agreed to go on with coaching on court. Coaches won't be on court, but there's all these intricacies. Some players are for it. Some players are against it. And then lastly, we had some more beef in Paris between a Frenchman and where does he doesn't rep a flag anymore, correct? Khachanov?
Well, he's Russian. Khachanov.
No flag though. No flag, Steven.
Are you a no flagger? Are you like pro like banning the flags?
No, I think it's the dumbest thing in the world that they ban the flag.
You're like, I can't tell what countries he's from because I can't Google it and there's no flag.
No. I think it's so stupid. I hate when they do it. It was dumb at the Olympics. It's dumb in tennis. It's dumb in the NBA. It's dumb everywhere. Stop banning flags. And then to wrap the show up, we'll do our smash or pass. Steven, before we get into how our weeks were, we have two pieces of business that we got to take care of. The first one is the best bet of the day, presented by Betway. Look, hit an ace with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses, plus 50 bonus spins no matter the result. This is a no sweat bet. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers only. So if you're an old customer, send this to one of your boys, send this to one of your girls, have them sign up. Good opportunity to get out there in the gambling world. Of course, terms and conditions apply. Offer is not available in Ontario and you must be 18 and up to play. Please, for the love of God, play responsibly.
I like it. That was passionate.
That was. And so with these future bets, right now on my screen, I have the Serbia Open up.
I like it. Me too. Great minds think alike.
I love that. And I'm trying to look ahead even to maybe the plays on Wednesday.
Well, I can actually see the outright winners for Belgrade.
Love this.
So this will give us a whole week to think about it as players go down. So I'm looking at some value here. They got our guy, friend of the show, Denis Shapovalov, as the third most likely player to win the tournament. Mind you, he was a qualifier for the tournament. So he won 2 matches to qualify. We love to see it. And then he just won today his first round match, beating Martin Fucsovics, who also qualified, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. He's ranked. He used to be a consistent top. His I guess his career high was 31 in the world, but he's always been a tough guy. He's shredded, just a beast. Shapovalov got him today in 3 sets. Then he plays Ninu Borges. And if you're just like looking at the draw and like erasing from your memory the rankings and kind of the history, and you just look at a talent pool here, to me, Shapovalov is better than everyone in this draw except for Demon Hour.
Right.
And you know where Demon Hour is? On the exact opposite side. So they can meet in the final, and anything is possible when you're Shapovalov. Like literally anything is possible.
Don't sleep on Cerundolo, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could say that about a lot of players, but true. Cerundolo, I'm just going to say it. I
He's a
think
game dog.
Shapovalov has a higher ceiling than Cerundolo.
I
And
agree. I agree.
I mean, he's proven. Well, wait, did Cerundolo already lose?
No, he plays Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I can't see anything here. Oh yeah, he hasn't even played. Anyway, so they got Shapovalov at plus 600 to win. I would say, probably not likely to win, but that's kind of low odds if you think about it. It's only the second round and plus 600. So they see something. So when the when the books see something, I was gonna say, don't call it when the books make, what do they call it? The bookies, the odd makers. When they see something, you
The sports book,
maybe can take notice of it. So the Betway's got Shapovalov at plus 600, and I'll put $1 on that. I'll do it. Anyways,
Hey,
what do you
and
see, JP? Do you see anything out there?
yeah, I mean, I love that pick. Also, what are the odds for Demonar?
Plus 225.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that at all
That's a good point. He's trying to
because
get that last spot, right?
exactly,
In
he's
Paris.
playing for something.
Or
It's not
Turin.
just some random tournament that he's taking part in at the end of the
Right.
year to just screw around. He's coming for a top 8 spot, especially
He's
with
not in
Djokovic.
Serbia just to check out the views. Let's just put it that way.
Right. And like Steven's saying, this is the perfect time to go in on Dennis, especially if you're a new member of Betway, because
Yeah.
no sweat bet. You can win big. You can win big if you go Dennis early.
Good point. That's a very good point. So yeah, I put out picks and tips on the Betway feed. Link below. Check us out on the Betway feed. But yeah, I guess JP and I in Serbia are looking at Demon Hour and Shapovalov.
And then
Pretty
look,
good.
people now they're asking, oh, dang, they might have just given us 2 really good picks. Steven, how the heck are we going to watch these matches? Like, what's the best way to watch them?
Well, we've got something else for you, actually, JP, if you believe it or not.
It's the giving season.
Tennis TV is the only legitimate place to watch the ATP Tour. That's right. They're a sponsor of the show, the Tennis TV. This is going to be on Tennis TV, bro. That one. You're right. And yeah, it's the official streaming service of the ATP Tour and the best way for tennis fans like all of us to enjoy the sport we love. They have all the latest live action from the ATP Tour and endless archives of past matches with ATP classics being packaged in a great way. So if you miss a match in Belgrade or in Lyon, France, you can go back and the replays are up instantly and highlight packages are there. It's way better than anywhere else. So click the link below to check out Tennis TV. And if you have $20 to your name, which I know most of you do, not all, most, you should consider subscribing and elevating your tennis fan experience. So shout out to Tennis TV for sponsoring the slice.
Yeah, something also with Tennis TV, since it is November, since it is the giving season, if you have a friend, a nephew, a niece, a mom or dad that's into tennis, this honestly would be an amazing gift to give somebody, because most gifts, let's be real, you're really only, you unwrap it, and unless it's like underwear or socks, you're going to probably be wearing it or using it for like, the next 3 months. Unless you're a part of a really good gift giving place, you get somebody a year-long subscription. You just got them a 12-month gift, which immediately puts you at the top of your family power rankings.
And they think of you every month.
Every single month.
Especially every day when they're watching tennis.
It's just a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
That's right.
So
That is right.
Oh my goodness. So Steven, what's going on with you? We have a big the birthday weekend. The birthday party is this weekend, correct?
Well, no, it's 2 weekends from now. So we're really getting prepared talking about it. But yeah, I've got a 30th birthday coming up. I'm turning 30. And I don't really usually celebrate my birthday much. Like, I don't know. It's just like it seems like it just kind of happens recently. I've never really helped organize a party for myself. I've had a few surprises, like friends have thrown them in the past, but I don't know. It just hasn't been much in the last few years. But this one I wanted to go all in. So I got some of my good friends flying in, and I've rented a penthouse in Victoria here. And we're gonna have a Mad Men themed birthday party because I love the show Mad Men. I've been watching it putting our son down to sleep as he's, in the first few weeks of his life, watch the entire show. And yeah, so that's gonna be fun. Looking forward to that. And this
What
last
birthday would it be if like say if this birthday party goes the best it could possibly go, what spot whose spot would it be taking at number 1? Like what's your current best birthday
like the best one I've been to.
that you've ever had? Yeah, for yourself.
Oh, for myself. That's see, like I don't know why. I think my parents kind of like they kind of downplayed like the birthday parties.
Yeah,
Like they were the classic non-millennial parent. Like my dad is 83 right now. So
right.
he was literally born during World War II. Like let's just put it that way. And my
Beast.
mom's like a classic boomer where they're like their life was not about their kids
Mhm.
in a way that like I think is actually healthy now. And that's the way I'm gonna try and raise my son, where it's like you know, so what it does is it helps you enjoy your life more as a parent, and then it helps teach your kids that they're not actually the center of the universe,
Mhm.
which they find out to be true one way or the other when they become an adult. So they were like, we don't want to throw you birthday parties when you're like past 12 years. I think they cut off throwing me birthday parties when I was like 10 or 11 or something, like, which
Yep.
is maybe fair, but it's just funny. I think nowadays parents would keep doing it. They'd facilitate it to like they're 18 or whatever, but or 16. I don't know. Sweet 16, maybe that's when it gets cut off. No, I was done way before that. So I was always like, oh, my birthday doesn't matter. So then I also like forget all my friends' birthday like dates. Like it's not great. But anyways, so I would say my best one probably has to just be like going to the climbing gym as a kid
There you
and
go.
go like we had this climbing facility and like you go rock climbing and then they'd like set up the swing and you like swing through the entire thing. Like that was pretty fun. Like that's as good as it got from me. So
That's a beast bird. The climbing gym was always a hit for whoever
yeah,
hosted it there. Like you get the invitation in the mail, you see the location, rock climbing gym,
yeah,
you're like, let's go. I'm there.
yeah. That was a good time. Those were the days, man. Those were the days.
So this could do it. The 30th birthday could
Oh,
top
this
it.
is gonna do it. This is gonna do it for sure. Just because like it's like essentially the first real birthday party I've had as an adult. Like it's like
Yeah.
I've had little ones where it's like, hey, we're having dinner for Steven. It's like, no. This time we're like on the top of a hotel in downtown Victoria. There's a theme. Everyone's gonna dress up like it's the 60s. We're gonna make cocktails. We're gonna play poker. We're gonna smoke fake cigarettes. We're gonna just go crazy.
Maybe do some
So
gambling on Betway.
yeah, we might pull a Betway. We might, I don't know what might happen. I don't know. So yeah, JP, you're invited. No one else who's listening is, unfortunately, but yeah, it's
I
gonna be
would
what it is. So we'll see how it goes.
it would be epic to be the only, I would assume, the only international guest coming in.
You would be right in assuming that. But yeah, how was your week, JP? What's going on with you?
My week was good. It was honestly amazing because the South Carolina Gamecocks had their greatest win of the season so far.
Go Cox.
Go Cox. And Shane Beamer, our head coach, who I've always loved, he went viral after it was his wife's birthday. And we love to see a good leader amongst young men. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what Shane Beamer is. It was his wife's birthday. He just had the biggest win. It could have been about him. He brings her into the locker room. He huddles the team around. He said, "Hey guys, get up here." Emily is his wife. She gets in the middle of all the guys and everything. And Shane's like, "I told her if we won this game that I had a surprise for her in the locker room. And I know I see you guys sing this song all the time at practice. So Big Mike, I need some help." And Big Mike is
Yeah.
in charge of the stereo in the locker room. And he cuts on this Fantasia song that's like, I think it's like oh my God, I hate it, I can't remember it. Something like What I Love About You, or like What About You or something.
Yeah.
And the players and Shane Beamer starts like singing it and doing some little dances with it, and the players are all in. And it was just the coolest like locker room moment, because it's like you got this football coach who's with these guys all the time, and he's giving them the greatest example of like, hey, here's my woman that I love. We're all gonna celebrate her. Like, this is how you do it. And you could tell it wasn't like the corny dudes that were in the middle
Yeah.
of the circle. It was like the star players around there. So you know that everyone's bought in. So that made my weekend, seeing that, topped off a great
Just seeing
win.
that.
And then
That's sick.
We got some awesome. Went to the Titans game. Saw some awesome people from Canada, from Halifax, and I've never met a more. Maybe he might have been the most excited fan we've ever met with the podcast, and he had true Canadian East Coast own time zone Canadian spirit to
Yeah,
himself. So I
that's
loved
epic.
it.
That's epic. I'm glad you got to meet a East Coaster. They're it's like a wild breed up here in Canada. You're like, oh, you're from the Maritimes. That's what it's called.
The
From the
Maritimes.
Maritimes. It's a cool
Oh,
place. It's a very cool place.
yeah.
It's like Maine, I guess, would be like the U.S. version of the Maritimes, like Maine, right? Or
I
Rhode
got to
Island,
get to Maine.
Vermont.
I need that lobster. Been to Vermont, never been to Maine.
Yeah, lobster. That is pretty fire. You can get lobster over here on the Pacific side. Like we have amazing oysters up where I live, but lobster is only caught on the East Coast, right?
Yeah,
So you get it here, it's like $1 zillion. But
dude, I love. Are you a big oyster guy?
I'm getting into it. I've only just gotten into it. I had a couple buddies. There's the Fanny Bay is like a world famous place for oysters, close to where I live, a couple hours away, and we stayed there for some reason. They have like, so you're like everywhere you go, there's like they're dishing out like freshly harvested oysters, and you're like shucking them. Everyone's shucking, and yeah, I was like, ooh, this is kind of good because I'm a surfer, so I'm like an ocean person. Like I'm
Yeah,
an ocean man. So you eat
ocean
a good
man.
oyster, it just tastes like the ocean, right? Like it just
Love
tastes
it.
like salt water. It's good for like you drink white wine with it, or like any other type of nice, like a light like lager. Something good goes down with it. Mm. But then you get bad ones, they're like fishy. You don't want that.
No,
And then people can
immediate
put stuff on
sickness.
the oysters, but I like it when they're so good you don't even. I put lime and that's it. Boom, down the hatch. It's awesome. Are you into oysters?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite foods. One day we got to host a slice tennis podcast oyster roast.
What's an oyster roast? Is that something you guys do?
Oh yeah, I mean it's legit. Just you invite people over and one person is in charge of basically bringing the oysters, and you just all eat oysters together. Some
Okay.
people will have like the open fire, so there's a big pan. They'll throw a bunch on and like get it just enough to where they're a little bit easier to shuck.
Okay.
But it's a great like wintertime vibe.
Do they harvest them down like in the Carolinas?
Yeah, South Carolina, we have oysters. So, but like when you go to restaurants, you have options of like Virginia, South Carolina, all the way even down to like Louisiana.
Oh
But
yeah.
the colder the better.
Yeah. It's not even that cold there, but I guess it's kind of cold. So the water's still cold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I love
That's
oyster
crazy.
season.
I didn't know. I thought the oysters were like only up here, but that's cool.
Yeah,
Oysters. It's a worldwide language. They have their own emoticon on the iMessage, and I love that.
yeah. It gets you. Yeah. What are they? Aphrodisiacs.
That's what people say. Hasn't worked for me yet, but
We'll find out next time.
we will find out next time.
Hey,
That's right. Well, sounds like we had a couple good weeks there.
yes, we can go ahead and get into a little bit of updates, or do we just want to jump right into the first story?
Let's do quick updates. Yeah, let's tell people what's going on. They might need to know.
Zverev, Rolex Paris Masters champion.
Yeah.
And I saw when I was reading through his stats, he leads the tour with most match wins this season at 66. And with
Yeah.
this title, it's his 23rd career title, 7th Masters title, and now
Yeah.
he is the world number 2.
And you know what they're asking, JP?
What are they asking?
Is Zverev the best player ever to not win a major? That's what they're saying.
As I was diving through the tweets, I was starting to agree with them. The classic names that come up was they brought up Dimitrov. They brought up, I believe, Michael Chang, because I don't think he won one, right?
I think he might have.
So okay, maybe he won.
Or
Tough look for the American.
no, yeah, I don't think he did.
Yeah, so he
Oh wait,
was
no,
in,
yeah, he did. Never mind, he did. He won the 1989 French Open at 17 years old.
oh, that's absurd.
So yeah, that was the only one he won. So
Yeah, they had him
that's
in
crazy.
there. I think with like Burditch too, maybe.
But there's not that
Um,
many good guys that haven't, like, if you think about it, like, it really is like, and then I was thinking, oh, Del Potro team. No, those are just what ifs, but they've still both won a major. So like, yeah, there's really no one else there who's won that many titles, like you just said,
mhm.
and big titles too. He's won, I think, 7 Masters. He's
Yeah.
won the ATP Finals. He's won everything except the major,
Won a gold medal.
and yeah, like it's a bit of an indictment on him. You're like, why can't you get it done at the majors? And that's true. He's definitely choked at the majors a few times. Um, but if you had to put money on it, JP, speaking of it, if you had to put money on Betway, would you bet that Zverev's going to win a major before he retires? Yes or no?
I think I'm betting no. When that pains me.
That's crazy. I mean, I can see why you say that, but I think it's going to get easier for him to win a major in the next few years, and I think he's definitely getting one before he retires. And if he gets one, he's probably getting more than one.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I hope he does win one. I hope he wins multiple, but there's something about like when I see the stats, 23 titles, 7 master titles, world number 2, it's like and obviously he's been close a handful of times. It's like, man, I can't help but think it's just solidified in his head.
I'm not a major winner.
Right. Like, oh man, I'm
I'm a
in the
major
finals.
loser.
Something's about to go down.
We'll see. I don't know. I think he's getting there because I think Djokovic has been the brain destroyer of his
Mhm.
generation of players, and he's not. I just, with the news about him probably not playing the ATP Finals, which we'll get to, I don't think he's going to be around much past next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And Zverev's looking ominous. I will say he's looking ominous. He's looking jacked. He's looking like streamlined in that blue outfit. I like that outfit. And he absolutely murdered Ugo Humbert, which was funny. And we'll get into that. But that was a beat down.
Yeah, Ugo, he might have needed that one, to be honest with you. Oh, I wasn't feeling him that whole tournament. We can wait though.
You're not the only one to say that. You're not the only
Yeah.
one to say that.
Next up, the WTA finals are going on, which obviously we'll get more into that recently. I'd say the biggest storyline is Sabalenka. She's trying to finish as a world number 1 for the first time, and she is
Mm-hmm.
in the semifinals. So personally, I hope she finishes number 1.
He's
And
a fan.
then Coco Gauff, first woman to reach 3 straight WTA finals before the age of 21 since Maria Sharapova, which shout out to Coco Gauff, great accomplishment. And then, yeah, a couple other tournaments going on as we speak. That's kind of what's going on in the tennis world.
That's what's going on.
Now, we were just talking about WTA finals.
Yeah.
The attendance the last 3 years, terrible. I remember seeing the photos from Dallas Fort Worth, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how does this happen? Then I see the year before, I forget where it was the year before.
Cancun.
Cancun, same thing. No way it happens 3 times in a row. And here we are, empty stadiums. What do they need to do?
I mean, I don't know. Don't ask me. Like, there's people that are a lot smarter than me trying to figure this out, and they're not doing it. And
Mhm.
you watch, like, this is where the big questions come in. A lot of people have like very strong opinions on this, but like you see the US Open, and a lot of times the women's final has the same ratings as the men's.
Right.
Like, I think this year was a good case of that. I think the women's, I forget who played in the women's final now. Pagula versus Sabalenka, right?
Yes.
And Sabalenka won.
Yep.
I think that had as high ratings as Sinner beating Fritz.
Mhm.
So it's not like they don't draw ratings, the women's. So people, but it's like, how do you separate that from the tournament? It's the US Open. It's not
Right.
a WTA event or an ATP event. So that seems like when you separate even like the best women's players out into its own tournament, it's just, and the verdict's out on if it can draw like big crowds.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a bit of like a chicken. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, what came first? Poor production, poor planning, or like a poor product? Because like it's a great on-court product, but sometimes you got to get product market fit. Is there a market that wants
Yeah.
to watch this amazing tennis product? Obviously, there isn't right now in Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
because It's not like it's the internet. If you're a tennis fan, you know that that's happening there. It's not like they didn't put enough bus ads to like sell enough tickets. It's like,
Right.
I don't know. That's probably not true. But like, I also don't know what the market is in Saudi Arabia for like women's sports.
You can't
Like,
imagine it's that good.
I can't imagine it's like it's historically not known as the most equal place in the world.
Right.
I don't think they were, having the same rights as now. I don't know if they still do, and if they do now, they definitely did historically. Uh, but that aside, the problem seems to be mainly, and the most flack seems to be getting caught by the WTA
Mhm.
organizers, as Tim Henman pointed out. He pointed out the fact that the tournament in Cancun, Mexico, and Dallas Fort Worth, like you said, they didn't even know like where they were going to be until like
Right.
a month or two before the event. So it's like what? So they had more time this time in Saudi Arabia, but to no avail. And then Ben Rothenberg, friend of the show, who was on our show a couple weeks ago, he just posted a report about how the Saudi Arabia, or the tennis federation, there was like paying people to show up to
Yeah.
the next gen finals a couple years ago there, and there's like proof of that. So it's a really weird thing. Like, there's the whole sports washing aspect of it in Saudi
Right.
Arabia. Do they want to have women there playing tennis free and in their outfits, and like we're like, hey, we're modern,
Yeah.
and then they're just paying for that to happen, like it's just a nonprofit like thing, and then no one shows up because no one cares? Or is it just like they actually didn't have enough time to market it? I don't know.
Mhm.
That's kind of my canvassing of the situation, JP. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. The money grabbing it's good in the short term, right? For everyone involved, whoever is getting the money, but it's really bad in the long term, and it does not help anybody outside of the event, which seems to be what I'll say they want to do. Off the top of my head, it's like the options would be: do you somehow stack it as the same time as the ATP finals and create the event going on at the same time, so you hopefully get a US Open situation or any of
The
these
same
other.
time and the same venue?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you would have to extend it out. Like, I'm sure if you wanna do it, keep the same format, but I don't think there's anything wrong with making it a little bit longer as far as the days go. It's not like they're playing more matches. There could be it would allow more time for other marketing things to happen. It's like, "Oh, dang, there's 2 off days. Let's do this big promotional thing."
Well, yeah, like, or an idea. I've never thought about this, so you just inspired me to think about it. But right now they do, and I don't. The tours probably won't do this because they're very stuck on doubles. But they do at the ATP finals. It's the singles and the doubles.
Yeah.
So maybe you could have like the women's doubles and the men's doubles somewhere, and then again, there's probably no market for that. But then you could have the women's singles and the men's singles in one venue at one place, and like every day there's like a day session with one women's, one men's match, and a night session with one women's, one men's match, and they're guaranteed amazing matchups, which you don't get at the US Open every time,
Right.
right? Like, you watch Djokovic in the first week, odds are it's going to be a 3-set blowout, and it's not going to be that awesome. But like, to me, and if you put them in like a premier city in the world, not Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
sorry, but like if you put it in Turin, Italy, that's not even like a premier Italian city. But if you put it in like Rome or
Mhm.
Paris or London or wherever these places, they're also more expensive. So that's probably maybe why they're in secondary markets, it seems. But like that, to me, that's like a no brainer. Like if it's like in California or in New
Right.
York, like those are just like tennis fans from around the world are going to fly to those events because they're both in the same spot. The women and the men have their own sets of fans, but they're always overlapping. And it would
Mhm.
just be like, it would be like the most dense talent, star-studded like pack of an event you could really have.
I love it, and I think if you're even trying to go even further with it to really draw the fans in, and you could even do the mixed doubles with the best players in the world, get into
Yeah.
it can be even like a fun format on whatever day it is, just to add that much more flair to the tournament. We might have just solved their issues, but
We might have just solved their issues. We're open for business. You can contract us in if you need any strategic planning. We are available, open for business. Just saying.
yeah, and I think if they, for whatever reason, if they can't do the finals the same week, if they can make the schedules work, it seems like you got to pick the city, or take like the 8 girls that make it, see where they're from, and find out some geographical pinpoint of like what's going to be the easiest for these fans of these players to get to,
Yeah.
and then market it from that way. And it's like, yeah, I mean, they don't know where the location's going to be anyways 2 weeks before the tournament, so it's not like they can't use the excuse of, well, we don't know who the top 8 are going to be. It's like you got a better chance of knowing who the top 8 are than not, honestly. But
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, but just even like, so Sabalenka's from Belarus, Eastern Europe, Pauline's from Italy, Rybakina's from Kazakhstan, or actually from Russia, but she plays for Kazakhstan. Uh, Swiatek's Poland, Eastern Europe. Krejcikova is from Czechia,
right.
Eastern Europe. So it's like if you had it somewhere, and the Czechs love tennis and the Poles love tennis, so you had it somewhere there, like Warsaw would be so sick. Like
Yeah.
you get everyone from Europe flying there. It's easy to get there. I feel like these tournaments have to be in Europe or in a
Right.
major U.S. city, like
Yeah.
not Fort Worth. Sorry, Fort
Yeah.
Worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
I like that point. Geographically, like, where does it matter? But I don't know the financials behind it. I don't know how this works. I'm sure Saudi Arabia is like, hey, how does $1 billion sound to have
right.
that hit? The ATP, all the shareholders like, that sounds pretty good. The fans like get roasted. No one's traveling there for it.
I
So,
know.
but that again. That's tennis. Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. And then our next one, and you good to move on?
Yeah. No, I think we solved it for them. If they want to listen to us, they
Right.
can. But we'll see
It
if they do.
literally, WTA, it took 10 minutes on the Slice Tennis podcast to figure out this problem that's been going on for 3 years. Now,
Exactly.
other people that help solve problems, coaches,
Whoa.
maybe some more than others. But there has been a lot of different coaching plays that honestly have happened throughout the whole year. And then there was the big rule change where they're making it official. They've been doing the trial of in-match coaching. And then, however long ago it was, maybe a month ago, they said, we're rolling with it. We're going to allow in-match coaching. I know Dennis and Taylor Fritz, they were both anti this. And then maybe other players were for it. I know back in 2018 or 19, they asked Federer about it, and he was kind of anti this as well.
Yep.
So I'm anti the coaching. And then I guess we can start with that, and then we can hit the other things that have been going on in the coaching world.
Yeah. Like, are you a fan of the off-court coaching, they call it? But like it's confusing to see what it's actually going to end up being. But
Yeah.
yeah, essentially, like the players, they first allowed the coaches are allowed to talk from the stands because they kind of admitted that they couldn't stop it from happening. Stefanos Tsitsipas and his dad were kind of like the people that forced the hand. But now it's going a step further where apparently they're going to be able to see like match analysis data. They're going to be using quote unquote player analysis technology that can be accessed by the players during the match. So yeah, to me that like fundamentally changes the sport a bit, which I'm not a fan of. Like
Right.
these things the sport does not need to modernize is another thing I think as well. Like it's not going to ever be this entertainment perfectly packaged thing like an NBA game.
Right.
It's just not. Like I feel like we've like beaten this horse so many times. Like, how can we make the matches shorter? We put in a shot clock. I love that. Yeah, shot clock, great. Tighten it down a little bit, but you can't. If you start to fundamentally change the scoring system or the the spirit of the game, which this is more around of like man versus man or woman versus woman, may the best player win. Now
Right.
it's like whoever has the better coaches. I mean, it's kind of they're saying it's equal because like they all have the coach access to the same stuff, but um, a lot of them don't really. A lot of them don't have. If there's a qualifier coming in and they have a coach, that a lot of times they're not working with those coaches in the same capacity that like Djokovic
Right.
is with his team. Like it's just. And again, it just takes away from like problem solving on the tennis court is the main issue. Like if you're not able to problem solve without the help of your coach and without the help of analytics in the match, then you shouldn't really be able to win because that's like the whole challenging part of tennis is like this guy's beating me. I'm also not playing the way I like, or I'm not
Right.
playing good. How do you figure that out? Well, if your coach just goes, hey, looks like he's not, playing to your back at it all or whatever, then it's like it's a different thing. It's no longer an individual sport. It's like
Mhm.
way more of a team sport, which I don't like.
Yeah, I'm
What
with
about
you.
you?
I like the one-on-one aspect of tennis. It makes it different because it really just leaves golf and tennis, but golf, it's like you have your caddy as well. So
Yeah.
truly, it makes tennis stand alone from every single other sport because even in the UFC, you get that little break after. And I know fighters most time they're not even listening because they're literally in war, and they got
Yeah.
some guy trying to tell them, "Hey, do this." Like, yeah, well, you're not the one getting punched in the face, but it makes tennis different, and they always
Yeah.
like the comparison of like, oh, like the two gladiators stepping into the onto the court,
Yeah.
and then you lose it with this. So I think if they're gonna do it, and if this is, I know they're saying it's a permanent rule. Ultimately, if things go bad, it will turn into another trial run, and maybe they would reverse it. So I think if you're gonna do it, you should go all in on doing it, and the coach is sitting at the player's bench, similar to a UFC fight or a basketball coach, where like in between you go sit with your coach, and then you go back out there.
Yeah.
So I think if you're gonna have allow coaches, you go all the way in and you fully try it out. Not don't try to teeter the line.
Yeah.
And then
And
I
then you have the coaches and the players, like you have it mic'd up so you can hear everything they're saying. It would be
right.
crazy. I mean, if you, it maybe, yeah, the historians and the ex players would hate it so much, but maybe it would provide an entertainment value that isn't there. But I think you would see a lot of chaos. The players would realize that, like, when they talk to their coaches on a mic'd up way, it's like shameless, like it's crazy what they're saying. They're like, and then they're like, we need to cut these mics. And then I feel like the players would revolt and they'd be like, we don't want this. Let's go back to the
Exactly.
way it was. So
Let the problem solve itself, and then you get some viewership on the way.
a social experiment in real time. We like that. People like that. So it
Everyone
could,
wins.
yeah, it could be, or like you have coaching in a way where there's like you're allowed to talk to the coach, but you're not allowed to discuss tactics or the way you're playing. You can just tell them essentially how you're feeling.
Everybody just has like a psychologist sitting there next to them, and we wheel in a couch. Instead of sitting on the bench, they lay down and they voice their frustrations.
What would be almost like I would love to see is like having the coaches mic'd up, like really mic'd up between themselves, like as in like, oh, like when one coach like turns to the guy's dad or the trainer or whatever, and he's like, oh,
Right.
he's doing this again. Like, what is, like that type of stuff. And then the player sees it afterwards, and be like, bro, you said that, but like, while I'm playing, like, kind of
Yeah.
like, I remember when Serena was, Serena, this is classic, and this was part of the whole thing. Like Serena and Patrick Mouratoglou, I remember at one of the U.S. Opens, I believe maybe 2018,
Yeah.
they got a warning for coaching from the stands, and then Serena on court goes, "No, he doesn't coach me at all. That never happens. We're not talking." And then afterwards, they go and interview Patrick. He's like, "Of course I was coaching. Everyone does that." And then she's like, "What? What?" Like they had this whole thing afterwards, and you're like, "That is, there's more of that could be, that's funny." And I think people, it's
Yeah.
just chaos, and people would like it.
Nah, yeah, it could be cool, and maybe that's even something they try, like, they pick a tournament. It's like, "Alright, coaches are on court," and then it's a UFC fight, and they get to coach. Obviously, they can't yell during the points, but
Yeah.
could be a fun experiment.
Yeah, it's a fun experiment. Again, I don't think the game needs to grow. Sounds the same when we're like a budding business in the game trying to make our place, but the
Yeah.
world's moving our way anyways. And I think the game needs to stay traditional. It needs to stay the way it was. You look back at like, yeah, tennis in the early 2000s. It was not worse than it is now.
Mhm.
Like it was just as good. And there was like worse TV, but you go there like this, the rules are all the same. And yeah, the game slowly evolves, but we don't need to press that and make it go quicker, I don't think.
The only thing that needs to be pressed for tennis to grow is the coverage and storytelling of the players. Because if people don't know who to support and why to support them, they're never gonna hop on anybody's train or bandwagon. And that's the number
Absolutely.
one thing that needs to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that
But
could be done a lot better ways. But on the coaching, there's a lot of new coaches in the game. Do you want to run through some of these, or like there's some new coaching outside of coaching on the court, there's some things that coaches and teams, like I said, some teams have better coaches, like the top players have access to more resources and coaching, things. What are some of the things that you've seen out there, JP? I know you got them noted here as things coaches have tried to get the most out of their players.
Yes, I saw one Carlos Ferrero with Alcaraz. They have implemented, I'm sure this is going on at his academy, but they put on a court with the same exact surface that's being used at the ATP finals, which I thought was pretty unique. I've never really heard of kind of a coach taking the initiative of like, fully immersing their player into the next spot they're playing. Also, that's
Yeah.
a good sign for the fans because it shows that Alcaraz and them are ready to come. Obviously, they all want to win, but they're taking that extra measure.
And he's trying to get Alcaraz good on the really quick indoor surfaces where he struggled historically.
Right.
Like I saw a great thread on Twitter. I won't be able to shout out who did it, but basically showed that the quicker the hard court speed, the
Mhm.
that's like Alcaraz's lowest winning percentage. Obviously, he can get it done anywhere, but that's where he gets his worst results. So they're obviously trying to change that.
And I think this is the callback to Federer's commencement speech when he's talking about how small the margins are. This is one of those margins that Team Alcaraz is trying to minimize and take advantage of. Then his rival, Yannick Sinner, he's working with Radek Stepanek. Is that how you say that?
That's right. Yep. Radek Stepanek.
Yep. And
Perfect.
he met up with him, I believe in Monaco, it said, to specifically improve his volleys. And the only reason I knew Stepanek's name before on like a coaching level was because I would always see Sebastian Korda posting with him. I believe Stepanek and Sebastian's dad are friends.
Oh yeah,
And
probably.
so they would do a lot of work. I think that's cool. It's also something I haven't really heard too much of like a player going to a coach for one specific thing to improve on, which is a very common thing in the NBA. It's like a lot of the guys go to Chris
Right.
Brickley for shooting. They'll go to this guy for ball handling. So I think that's cool to see.
That is cool to see. And Radek Stepanek was a really good singles player. He had a very a well-rounded creative game, but I also believe he was really good he played doubles for a long time as well, even past when his singles career ended. So he's tight with the volleys.
Yes. And then our next one was Rabikina hired Ivan Isevich. I got it right this time, right?
That's both of them you got right. That's great.
Let's go. He was not unemployed long.
That's
I
right.
know this seemed like the biggest headline in the coaching world as of recent because I hate that I'm forgetting all the stuff that was going on with Rebecca kind of like last month. Refresh me.
People don't really know, but she
Yeah.
had a coach for a long time, Stefano Vukov, I think is his name. And they were great and they won majors together, but or a major together. But yeah, I think things might have got weird there. Like I don't want to speculate, but I think
Right.
things got a little weird between their relationship, which has definitely been a theme on the WTA. Like it does get weird. Like there's it's like a guy girl, very
Yeah.
close relationship and stuff goes down. So I don't know what happened there, but they're not working together anymore. And obviously she's hired Ivan Isevich, who is a legend for his own play, but he's also coached Djokovic to some very he's been the coach of Djokovic basically in his comeback after 2018 when he almost retired.
Yeah, so that will be a good move for her. They're starting. I don't think he was with her for the WTA Finals. He'll be starting 2025. So a lot going on in the coaching world of tennis. And now to our last topic, a little bit more fun. We get to go back to Ugo, the king of the antics at the Rolex Masters. Did you see the beef between him and Khachanov?
Oh yeah, I saw it all. I was watching the end there, and I was like, I saw this was the semifinals. Obviously, I
Yeah.
saw, and even against Alcaraz is when it really started. Like he needed everything to get over the line against Alcaraz, so he was cheering every point. It was savage. Like
Savage.
Alcaraz would double fault. The crowd goes nuts, which is that's one thing. But then Ugo's cheering. I've literally never seen that. Like he's literally fist pumping after Alcaraz double faults. So that's pretty cheeky. Alcaraz obviously is a pretty cool sport. He's like whatever. And then Khachanov's there's a great clip where he's fallen over on the second last point of the match in pain because he's injured.
Right.
And Humbert's just fist to the crowd. It's kind of a gang. It's kind of one of those tennis pictures that goes hard.
Yeah.
But and I tweeted out, this is my thought on it. I don't care. Like, I think that's, you can do that. You can do whatever you want. It's using the crowd to your advantage is cool. But the response from Khachanov, which maybe you can cover, is totally normal. And Khachanov at the net was essentially like, show some respect. Like, that's not normal. I would say congrats if you acted like a normal person. And then he said, and then I think he would have said something like, let's see you next time. I would have loved
See,
just Khachanov just like step over the net and just be like, I'll snap you in half.
bro,
Like,
it's
that would be like Jason Kelsey to that guy whose phone he smashed. Like, Khachanov would maul Humbert,
man.
and Humbert was asking for
Can you imagine if a tennis player did what Jason Kelsey did?
it.
The response would be so funny to see because I feel like people would be so upset.
Oh yeah, they would be like, put him in jail.
He's abusive. He's this, he's that. Like, yo,
We need to
nah,
get him in front of the International Court of Justice.
right. Man, that was Jason Kelsey, one of our many kings here in
He must be
America.
getting celebrated in the football realms like crazy.
Dude, I mean, every athlete, I think every single athlete from every single sport was so jealous of Jason Kelsey on
Yeah,
Sunday because they've all wanted to do that. They've all had fans chirp them to their face whether they're coming off the field or off the court or wherever.
yeah.
And they just every single one of them has that one moment where they want to snap. And Jason Kelsey got to snap, and there's no repercussions because he's not
Because
playing.
he's
Obviously, the guy,
retired, right?
yeah, he's retired, and the guy can. I guess he could try to go to
There,
court with him for whatever,
there's
but
nothing. No, my understanding of the legal system, it would be like there's nothing. He could sue him, but he would lose, and then he would have to pay all the legal fees. And it's just like, you're gonna do that over an iPhone. It's just
right.
not happening.
I
Whatever.
mean, did you see how that phone exploded?
Dude, do you see how big Jason Kelsey is compared to everyone else there? Like, I
So
love it. Obviously, it's a very bad word. Well, like Jason Kelsey wasn't saying the word like to the guy. He was just
exactly.
repeating it, like the awful slur that the guy said to him. And he's like, "Who's that now? Who's
Yeah.
the now?" That is just so funny to me. Like, just like,
So
and
pure.
the guy like, what the crazy thing is when Jason goes down to like pick up the phone, I
He
think the guy
pushed
like
him.
pushed him like pretty hard. Like, Jason had to like move over, like put his leg out.
I
I'm
could
like,
not.
dude, you're
Yeah.
lucky you didn't get like freaking suplexed.
That's how Jason Kelsey he has a good head on his shoulders because
Yeah, yeah,
there was no reason that he shouldn't have just seen full red right there. But he knows he has way more to lose than this guy.
totally. Yeah, totally. And there's a
So,
huge crowd there, which I'm sure would have been on Jason's side. But anyways, yeah, I don't know how we got talking about that, but Jason Kelsey, Karen Khachanov, probably Karen Khachanov might be the closest physical specimen in tennis to Jason Kelsey. So I think that's kind of why it came to my mind.
yeah. No, I love it. And yeah, I share the same thoughts. I think it's something with Humbert that it's like his build too. He has like an annoying, he just like kind of looks like he might be annoying. So then when these things happen, I feel like it's blown up even more. He's lanky, he's French, you know, all these things. Maybe he's an awesome guy. I'm sure he's an awesome guy, but
I think he is, and I think what I said on the show is like he's kind of, I think, always been seen as like a quiet guy. He kind of just is like
yeah,
nice guy, quiet guy. But I think like the moment really just took over him. Playing Alcaraz, he's like, I just beat Alcaraz, which is really
yeah.
sick. Then he beats Khachanov. And then what did you think about the mirror scene? Him looking at himself in the mirror. I think Tennis TV got on that. They're like showing him, and then he like makes eyes with the camera quickly. And I think that's when you know it's over. It's like, oh crap, they caught me looking in the mirror. And I just retweeted that and I just said, when you know you're about to get routined in the final.
And dude, and that I think now that you bring that up, that is exactly why I was just saying the things I was saying because the quick glance, like, oh, the camera's on me, and then to hold it for 40 seconds. Like, I don't think people understand how long 40 seconds is to just stare straight at yourself in the mirror, knowing there's a camera on you.
Right. Like, it's not like he was just doing that and then he's like, oh, there's a camera. Like, I think it would be normal to like see the camera and then laugh and like, oh, this is a joke. I'm like not
Right.
actually like. it would be kind of, but he's like, sees it, continues on. It's like, you're forcing it, bro.
You're forcing it, man. This is not the route you want to go. I promise you. You got enough good qualities. We don't need to do this route.
I,
And one of my favorite things about tennis players, though, is when he went up to the net and Khachanov is saying whatever he's saying to him, and he like Humbert looks like super confused. He's like, oh. I'm like, and they always do that. They're always so shocked when the other guy confronts them on something. I'm like,
it's like, I was
y'all
just
know what you're
cheering
doing.
all your double faults and you're injured clearly, but I'm still cheering and getting the crowd to rally up behind me.
Right.
I'm
And it's
so
always
confused as to why you're not cool with that. That's like, again,
man.
private school kids potentially, like not used to the schoolyard, like
Yeah.
the jungle, or I
Not
don't
used
know.
to especially against a Russian.
For sure. For sure. And it's also, maybe that's just like the European football thing though. It's like the acting. It's like the diving
Yeah.
in sports. Like they like do this, they like take down this guy in soccer and this like crazy, it'll be like a crazy tackle, and then they go to the umpire, the ref, they're like, what? Like, it's all kind of a joke, you
No,
know?
no, no,
No,
no.
no, no, no.
It's
So that's,
always the finger.
yeah, I can see Humbert being that guy. It's just like, he's French. Like, it's just like, he's like, oh, maybe he was a joke. He's like, oh, are you gonna cry? Like, oh, I just won. And then he's like,
That would have
celebrates hard
now
right
that would
after.
have been iconic.
See, maybe he was, because he did go. He's like, looked a little sad, and he's like, went and celebrated with the
Yeah.
fans. I'm gonna
Alain.
go get routed in the final.
So funny.
Anyways, that was funny. Humbert, yeah, you know what? You gotta respect it. He's making money. He's winning. But you're not gonna get a lot of friends in the locker room doing that. I'll just say that.
No.
So maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't care.
We can we go ahead and hit our smash or pass last segment.
I like it, and I think one of these things is included. It might be obvious based on what we just said, but what do you think, JP? Humbert, the 40-second stare down with himself in the mirror before the Paris final, smash or pass?
Humbert, this might come as a shock after everything we were just saying, but I'm smashing because that
What?
junk was hilarious. And I know in your head you had to have been thinking about some of the repercussions, and I'm hoping you were just like, you know what? I'm going all in. This is what I was going to do. Maybe not for this long, but I'm still going to do it, and I'm going to give the people what they want. So it's a smash solely because I'm thanking him for giving us this moment to talking about. What about you?
I want to smash because if I didn't see that he saw the camera, I would have been like, that's sick. I
Yeah,
would go stare at myself in the mirror for 2 hours before the match, being like, this is you. You are that guy. You are that guy who wins the tournament after having a great run. And just kind of look at himself. But the fact that I saw him see the camera killed it for me. So I'm passing for sure.
passing and then just getting beat down.
Yeah.
Next one, tennis in Saudi.
Pass. You got to have crowds there. You have to have crowds. The time zones are brutal. Like, being in Europe's one thing. Being in the Middle East, like, I'm not even gonna try and figure out when this match is on
At
because I'm not
all.
watching.
I would be
Yeah.
doing exactly that. I
What
would
about you?
probably be super
Smash or
late. I'd be
pass?
yawning. I will be passing as well because obviously I don't knock anybody for chasing the bag most times, but like we were saying before, I think overall it hurts way more because even the moment of whoever wins, the moment will not be as big as what it should have been. It won't be as big as whoever wins the ATP one because
Totally.
there's no like culture, there's no storyline behind it because there's no crowd, like there's no energy anyways.
The ATP finals were for a long time in London at the O2 Arena. It was like packed. It was a huge event. Whoever would win is just like a big deal. It's just, yeah,
Right.
we need
So
that. The
yeah.
women deserve that.
Yeah. So pass.
Yeah, pass. Passing. Okay, what's next? Okay, I got this one for you, JP. I threw this one in there. Are you smashing or passing on a U.S. man winning a major next year in 2025?
You already know the answer to this one. I'm smashing. We got the taste of it this year, and tomorrow we're going to eat the full meal. All they
Did
should have never
we?
they should have never let us get the taste, especially at the US Open. It was the
Does
taste of the
not
US
winning a
Open.
set in the final give you a taste of winning?
But you saw what he did. He dyed his hair blonde. He's taking the next step.
That's called like a midlife crisis.
I will say this: I don't think it's going to be Fritz that wins it, but I do think we're going to get one.
Oh, that's a take.
Yeah,
Tommy Paul,
Th-
America's man.
that would be my preference to see
Yeah,
Tommy Paul win.
yeah.
But
Your
yeah,
lookalike, your doppelganger.
yeah, Tommy Paul. Everybody that's listened to the show, y'all know that I get confused even in the comments. People are like, "Oh, I didn't know Tommy Paul was your co-host." Like, oh dang, it's just me, man. Don't have
That
as good
is,
as teeth. I'm not built as well, and we have a lot of different things about us. But that's what people say we look alike. I don't say we look alike.
I think you guys are both, where is he from? Florida?
He's from up like in the Northeast.
Huh? Country man. I think you're a bit, you give me a country vibe for some reason.
Yeah, I
Not
mean
like Western, but like, what is that called down south when you're like,
we're
when
just
you're like
Southern.
southern, like alligator hunting in the bogs? Like, what is that?
That's Bayou boys. That's
Bayou.
Louisiana.
Yeah, yeah. You give me Bayou vibes. But
Hey, I love the culture down there and the food, so I'm in on that.
fair enough.
And
What do they
then
eat down there? Is that just like that's like jerk chicken and stuff, right?
in Louisiana,
Yeah.
a lot of Cajun food.
Cajun.
So like gumbo, crawfish, a lot of
Ugh.
seafood. Bro, no,
I
what?
don't
It's fire. It's so
I don't
good.
know if I do crawfish, man. Like the thing I like about oysters up here is that they're coming out of like the cleanest,
Yeah.
purest ocean water ever that's like cold. But I think of like, don't these crawfish that come out of like a muddy swamp,
Yeah, I mean
essentially?
they're
Or like
definitely nasty, but they taste good. They eat the nasty stuff. It's
that's
like
like
shrimp.
paint
Like
worm.
what do shrimp eat, you know?
I don't know, but
They
depends
eat
where they
poop.
are. Like up here, they eat like probably this clean plankton.
Nah, I think they eat poop.
Well, that's see
There you
these
go.
things you
So
shouldn't. I don't want to. My new thing in life is I don't want to hear. I don't want to ask the questions I don't want the answers to.
there
That's
you
my thing
go.
in life.
We do need to
Don't
have
ask
you at least
questions you don't want the answers to.
you need to at least try some crawfish.
I mean, I'll try it. Like you get me down there, you get me buttered up, a few beers with me. I'll try anything.
Try anything once.
Well, yeah, yeah. I'm not. I've listened to enough. What's it called? What's it? Theo Vaughn. I've listened to enough Theo Vaughn to like skip a few of those steps. I don't want to become a mechanic,
Theo is Louisiana for sure.
for
Um,
sure.
all right, hey,
That's
what's
great.
been
So
winning for
wait,
you?
so yeah, U.S. man winning a major in 2025. I'm passing.
This guy,
I
man.
unfortunately don't think it's going to happen.
This
I
guy.
think there's a very high chance of Alcaraz winning multiple majors next year, and there's a very high chance of Sinner winning multiple majors. They both did this year; they won 2 each. So
Yeah.
it might become a duopoly in tennis. That honestly, there used to be the big three; it might just be the big two.
With
That's what we're
Nate.
that's the risk we're running. Unless these guys can figure out a way to consistently beat these guys, someone else has to step up. And I also agree. I don't think it's going to be Taylor Fritz.
Yeah. You think it might be
Sorry, Taylor. I
Zverev.
always say, prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
Prove us wrong. Last one. This one would
Yeah,
be for you. The Canadian tennis comeback in 2025. Smash or
yeah.
pass. Is it loading?
It is loading. The Canadian comeback. It has to because it really can't get worse than what it's been.
Mm-hmm.
The when I like 2021, I think is when I started to be like, I'm gonna be focused on the Canadians again because I've always been Canadian, obviously, but I was like, we have an amazing 10 years ahead of us with all these young players. Bianca had won in 2019, and then it was like COVID right away, so it was just like weird times. But
Right.
and then it was going well for a while. It was like we were making semifinals and majors, finals and majors, and then it's just been like we haven't even sniffed.
Mm.
We haven't even sniffed. Like not we. I don't even think any of them have been to a quarterfinal since the Australian Open of 2022, which is
When
one,
did Dennis
two,
go to? Didn't
3
Dennis
full
go to
years.
Wimbledon?
That was 2021
Really?
semifinal. Yeah.
Dang, I thought he hit it one more recently than that. That's crazy.
No. And then Felix made the semifinals of the US Open in 2021, and Layla made the final of the US Open in 2021. And then Felix and Dennis both made the quarters in 2022 at the Australian Open. So that was like
That's
3 in a row where they're always in the last 8 of the majors. And, I actually had like a TV deal in the works then to be like a Canadian guy on like one of the big networks here. And then she's like, let's just see if we can sneak it in there. If these guys keep doing well, we'll get a bigger budget. And it was like, and then she's like, we have no budget. And I was like, don't worry, I just can't feed my family now because you guys can't string anything together anymore. But just all that to be said, there's a comeback coming. I really think Felix, Dennis are too good to be not in the top 20 consistently.
Yeah.
And it's mental. It's 100% mental for both of them now. I used to think Felix wasn't mental, but it's 100% mental. It was also physical, but that's become mental.
And y'all got a good younger, like obviously Felix and Dennis are still young, but y'all's young players are also good. Like they can cause problems.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's like they're the young guys, and then there's my guy Gabe Diallo, who we're gonna have on the show. He's now broken into the top 100. But the real problem is there's no one actually under like 20 years old that's like a prospect in Canada.
Right.
That's like, because when Felix and Dennis were coming up, Felix at 15 was like, people were talking about him like Carlos Alcaraz. I'm not joking. It was crazy. You ask any analyst in the world who's the most upcoming prospect, Felix Auger-Aliassime out of Canada. Have you seen this kid? And so that would have been like 2017 when he was 15. FYI. So 2019 they were crushing. Anyway, so we're posed for a comeback, and people are going to put some respect on his name, but he's got to figure it out. I think he's got to get a new coach, unfortunately, and clean house and just get a new mindset. But 2025, I believe in the comeback. What about you for your Canadian northern neighbors?
I love it. I'm also smashing. I think you're right about Felix. I think with Dennis, as much of a pain this season, I'm sure was for him. He had to, he's had to play qualifiers again to get into tournaments. He hit a couple challengers. I think it's exactly what he needed because he's a competitive dude. He's fierce. And it was like, I feel like it was a good reset of like, oh, dang, no, like I need to grind day in and day out to keep that level that I was at and that people expect me to be at and what I expect myself to be at. So I think this tournament right now that he's playing, the fact he went through the qualies, now he's in the round of 16. Like,
I know
it's you just feel it.
I like that. It's like the blue collar way. It's like go in, earn it the hard way,
right?
Come through the seeds, and get your mind right because nothing's earned. Like when you have so much success early on, like it's always just up and to the right. You can just feel like I deserve this. I deserve to be top 15 without putting in my best effort or playing like a ding dong. So when you realize, oh, I can actually drop out of the top 100.
Right.
Yeah, knee injury is serious, but it's not just a knee injury. Why he's wasn't playing well or wasn't having the results. It can reset things, and so we'll see. Yeah, I believe in the comeback, and I believe that's all we got for this week's episode.
That's it. Thank you, everybody for listening. Make sure you leave some comments. Make sure you like the video. Make sure if you're watching and you're not subscribed that you do subscribe. The best thing, there's 3 things Steve and I asked for during the giving season. 1, to sign up on Betway. 2, you don't even have to do this yourself. You can get somebody else Tennis TV subscription. And number 3, maybe the easiest one and the cheapest one, subscribe to the channel. That's the best way you can support. That's the best way you can give.
Absolutely.
So, yes. Thank you guys for watching the show. Make sure y'all are ready for Steven's birthday bash in a couple weeks. Happy birthdays in the chat from here on out. And that's it. That's the slice.
Appreciate you. We'll see you next time here on the podcast.